A new player in black and gold. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 107 of LAFC Plus. He is Mario Ruiz. I'm Dave Denholm, and this is your show that we like to talk about everything LAFC plus around the rest of MLS. And it, as always, presented by Hotel Indigo, Los Angeles downtown. A great hotel in downtown Los Angeles, not far from BMO Stadium. If you want to make a weekend of it, check out Hotel Indigo, Los Angeles downtown. And if you want a little deal, there's always the old QR code. If you're watching on YouTube, check it out. Go find it on YouTube. Check out the QR code for a deal from Hotel Indigo, Los Angeles downtown. Mario, welcome to the show, buddy. Good to see you. And welcome, Armindo Sieb, to the black and gold family.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we got a lot to talk about today, Dave. I mean, Leagues Cup Phase 1 has wrapped up. LAFC getting back to MLS action. And Armindo Sieb joining the black and gold. It's a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. LAFC Plus.
Yeah, Armindo Sieb, the new signing for LAFC. He is a forward, a striker. Comes over from Bayern Munich. Remember, we have the kind of the mutual relationship with Bayern Munich, the partnership, and it's paying dividends here in this signing. This is a permanent transfer for Sieb. He signed for a couple of seasons, a long-term deal. And so this is not a loan deal or anything like that. 23 years old, so he won't be a U22 initiative signing. This is just a straight-up, member of the roster kind of signing, just a straight-up signing for Armindo Sieb. And Sieb, who's been out on loan at Mainz in the Bundesliga, also spent some time at Greuther Fürth, which is a two Bundesliga team for the most part, and has done well over there. Of course, as we mentioned, part of the Bayern Munich academy and system, and he's played there on a handful of occasions, I believe. I think he played in some cup matches with Bayern Munich as well. So, yeah, very excited. It's just watching him. Look, I'm not going to lie. Mario, didn't know a lot about him coming over. Certainly, I'm not going to sit here and pretend. But as I watch him, very strong, just a strong, fast player. Like, there's a lot of physical tools there, which I love to see for those strikers and then the forward spot.
Oh, yeah. And when I found out about this move, Dave, I started to do my research, started to look at all the footage, dug into everything about Armindo Sieb. And right away, I see that he's a player that just knows how to finish. He can pick out a spot, in the lower corner if he has to, or he can put it up top bins if he wants to. And he likes to hit it first touch as well. He doesn't need too many touches around goal, which is something that can be very frustrating if you're watching as a fan, where they take too many touches and can't get the shot off in time. He likes to hit it first time or maybe one or two touches. And, I'm sure it's going to take some time for him to adapt to LAFC. He's playing along some talented, players with Sonny and Denis, who also have the ball at their feet and like to attack as well. So he's going to have some time to adapt. So there's going to be a little bit of time there. But how Marc Dos Santos wants him to fit in is another thing that he has to learn. So maybe not right away, but I do see plenty of potential, especially with the long-term signing. I think LAFC as well, the front office and the coaches, they see a lot of potential as well. So giving it a little bit of a few seasons to see what happens and to see how he adapts and how this all evolves with Armindo Sieb here with the black and gold.
Yeah, I also think it's interesting with this World Cup year, how there's really actually more games still to go in this second half, quote unquote. I know we've started the second half. We've played a few matches in MLS Cup or MLS action, but normally you maybe have 9-10 games left by the time a player comes in this transfer window. That's what's been kind of weird about the MLS schedule in that sense. You might sign a guy, some big signing, or even a signing that you're not even sure of necessarily, like Denis Bouanga when he came over. He didn't have a lot of time in the regular season to really get up to speed. This one has a few more games. This year has a few more games still. Sieb will get some minutes, hopefully, get off and running. Hopefully he was certainly, ready to get going in the European season. If this was a move that's, come about maybe more recently, he's been in training, bidding preparation. So he's still got many games to go for LAFC here before the regular season ends as well. So that's a little interesting twist on a year where normally it wouldn't be that way, but with the World Cup break. LAFC, speaking of breaks, well, we finish up phase one of the Leagues Cup Wednesday night at BMO with a 1-1 draw with Querétaro. And LAFC, though, did win the PK shootout. It was all or nothing, Mario. If they lost that PK shootout, they were for sure out.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought it was a kind of a good fight on the night. Not the best performance you're ever going to see from LAFC. Not the best performance you're probably going to see from Querétaro, who I think is a better team than they showed in this tournament. You're probably going to see better from them, too, this year. But it was a fight, and it was a dog fight, and it was really kind of a game you don't mind to see, actually, when you come out and get that extra point in the shootout.
Yeah, and although that Querétaro lost their first 2 matches, they put up a fight in all of their matches. And I think we got to give Querétaro a ton of credit, the way they came into BMO Stadium, knowing that their Leagues Cup run was already done. They had nothing to play for, but you wouldn't even have known that by the way that they fought that night against LAFC. They played like a team that had something to prove. Just because they knew that their Leagues Cup run was already done, they weren't just going to let you run over them. Mexican teams, they got way too much pride for that. So they're not just going to let you go through them. They're not just going to go through the motions, and they made LAFC work all night long for sure.
I agree. And it also is interesting because there's been so much talk about Leagues Cup, even before the tournament, where everybody was like, you have to win all 3. Everybody thinks you have to get 9 points. So when Querétaro lost their first match, and in fairness, they outshot FC Dallas. They just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. They lose 2-0. They rotated 9-10 guys in the second match. Maybe they just thought it was over, right? And 6 points at most you could get then. That would be pretty tough, admittedly. But you could have got through potentially if you're Querétaro, but they kind of just rotated so heavily in the second match. No kind of consistency. Maybe that was their plan all along too. These are quick matches. Maybe they just wanted to get back to Liga MX, and figured we lost the first match. We gave it a go. But, we're seeing that that's not necessarily the case all the time anymore. Maybe nobody ends up with 9 points for MLS in this. We'll figure that all out as games go on. And
that's
as
true.
We're recording this, we still have matches, all that kind of stuff. But interesting how Querétaro kind of faced this tournament. Then they really went for it against LAFC.
Yeah.
They just laid it all on the table.
And when you're playing against a team that has nothing to lose, sometimes that's very, very dangerous. They just come out there, no pressure on them. They can just go out there and do what they did, which is just fight, But I want to give some credit. I want to give some flowers to the LAFC players that stepped up big time, and they converted in the PK shootout because it was Denis, it was then Son, and then it was Traberco, and then Hollingshead and Porches. All of them converted. Each one of them made the PK look so easy. And really, I don't know which one had a more perfect PK, but I'm not going to lie. I do like the way Ryan Hollingshead took his PK. He went up there with his run up like he was about to blast it, like he was going to rifle that thing through the net. And then he kind of finessed it right through the middle as the keeper was leaning one way. I like Ryan's PK shootout, although everybody had a really good PK shootout, 5 for 5 for LAFC.
Yeah, nothing Guillermo Alisson was going to do on any of those virtually. And the thing was, he had a good match. He was ready for that PK shootout, the keeper for Querétaro. Yeah. He was feeling good, but he had nothing to do with those. And then I was fooled on the Daniel Parra miss. I'm not going to lie. That thing rattled. You know how it hits the underside of the crossbar as hard as it can, and it comes down kind of straight, but I thought it was over the line, but it clearly wasn't once you look.
It happens all the time that way in PKs,
Yeah, there was nothing, if it was over the line, there's nothing Hugo Lloris could do. He can't reach over and save it. I mean, if it's over the line. So Lloris didn't really react. Parra didn't really react. I was like, oh, it's in. And then, wait a minute. It actually came straight down instead of that little spin on it sometimes. So he hit so hard and off the crossbar that it came straight down and missed. And that's so rare. Oh, yeah. If you hit it that hard, usually off the crossbar and it doesn't go down, I understand, if it just clanks off or whatever. But this one went straight down. Somehow didn't go in, thankfully. And then, of course, as you said, Ryan Porches just steps up. And, these most of the time with guys with PKs for LAFC, we have to remember, and we've talked about it, during the regular season, maybe it's going to be Denis Bouanga and Son Heung-Min taking them. That's it in general, right? Usually one of those guys at least is going to be on the pitch at all times, and they're going to get the PK. So all these other guys really only can practice, quote unquote.
That's true.
Ryan Hollingshead doesn't take a PK for LAFC in a regular season match. I mean, that's just never happened. And it will never happen, in all likelihood, obviously. So these guys have to step up. Ryan Porteous, he's never going to get a PK opportunity, really. I mean, that's not expected, only in these situations. So to be ready like that, you're right. And
Ryan Hollingshead is a guy that I think probably enjoys like stepping in there into the PK shootout. Like, heck yeah, I'm going to take a PK. Well, I just know how Ryan is. He likes to score. All
I know is he shot one in 2022 against Philadelphia. Yeah. So, I mean, that was a beauty as well.
That's true.
He made no mistake. And of course, we know what that led to, obviously, on MLS Cup for LAFC. So, yeah, these guys are ready, and they have to be. Mm-hmm. We won 2 penalty shootouts. You got to be ready.
That's true.
Those 2 extra points, those go a long way in the League's Cup. So, good shootout. And there was another. It wasn't the best match LAFC have ever played by any means. We're not going to sit here and sugarcoat that. You're drawing against Querétaro at home when you needed a win. I mean, bottom line is that's not a game we're going to count in the top 50 all time of LAFC performances. But when you have to step up, sometimes you have to just take care of business, any way you can. And getting 2 shootout wins was a nice way to go. And no losses.
And another
for
cool
LAFC.
Storyline in that game too was seeing LAFC Academy product Eric Duenas right back at BMO Stadium.
Great point.
That was so cool to see him there. But this time he's wearing the jersey of a Liga MX team. We've seen him with another MLS jersey with the Dynamo, but now in a Liga MX, Querétaro jersey is different. That was pretty cool. And I think we're always gonna be happy for Eric, proud of Eric for wherever he goes in his soccer career, in his football career. Yep. Because remember, Eric Duenas was there in the inaugural, LAFC Academy days when he was a U12, and he worked his way all the way up into that first team, all the way up until debuting at 15 years old at BMO Stadium, So I can just imagine the feeling that he had of just coming back to BMO Stadium and playing against the team that he was in the stands cheering for as a kid, So. And you could tell after the game, he was with everybody, just hugging everybody. And looks like he got to meet son Heung-Min because Sonny wasn't here when Eric was around. So
no, of course,
got to meet Sonny and they had an exchange. But yeah, Eric was hugging all the players at LAFC and all the coaching staff and everyone. That was really cool to see.
Probably a better night in terms of Eric being able to kind of celebrate it afterwards in that it didn't cost Querétaro anything. Whatever happened, they were already out,
Yeah.
So he gets in. And after the match, he doesn't have to worry about, we lost the shootout. Maybe he just could celebrate a little bit about playing at BMO Stadium again, coming back home, if you will. So that was kind of cool. No, I mean, it was very cool, but it's nice that it wasn't as much pressure in the sense of he didn't have to worry about it kind of didn't ruin his evening, so to speak, that maybe Querétaro was going to get knocked out that night or something. He can just enjoy it and enjoy his football, which, a lot of the Querétaro players did on the night. They played well.
Yeah.
And, they did deserve the draw. There's no doubt about that. But, Mario, you mentioned Son. We move on to football fit check. This is a little thing we maybe did a little bit more in the past. Well, we get to it whenever it's necessary. We know what we're doing here, especially Mario. He's our Stilo director. So you know what's going on with this, Mario. If you're on YouTube, this is a little better bit, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
rather than
true.
On the podcast, because we show a picture. But take us through football fit check on this show here.
Yeah, this is a little bit overdue as well because we haven't done this one in a while. And Sonny here has been killing it with his arrival fits in the stadium tunnel ever since he got here to LAFC. I mean, look at this guy. He's looking like a freaking runway model here, just with that strut really and that cool look to the side. Yeah. He got the shiny penny loafers, with the white socks.
Very sharp.
I know you had a couple of those penny loafers back in the day, Dave, for sure.
Oh my gosh, I totally did. Yeah.
He got the loose-fitting jeans there. Yep, he got a simple T-shirt, but the T-shirt, if you zoom in, it says, "I may not be rich, but I'm one hell of a tap dancer." First off, I bet he probably is. I bet he probably could be, if he really wanted to, a really good tap dancer because he's that talented and that coordinated, that much of an athlete.
Yeah, the shirt doesn't necessarily ring true, but it's cool looking. That's all that really matters in this case. So
it's a good look for Sonny. He's always killing it there in the tunnel, the arrivals picks.
Yeah, this one's very sharp outfit, no question.
If you had to design a custom shirt for you, Dave, that said, "I may not be rich, but I'm one heck of a blank." For me, I'm thinking I was thinking about it. I was like, man, I was thinking of something cool, something funny, but I mean, that's just really not me. So I was just saying, I may not be rich, but I'm one heck of a family man. I think that'd be a cool shirt for me that fits me.
I may not
think
be
you
rich,
would be.
but I'm one heck of a t-shirt designer, apparently, because that's it's a good way to put it, I guess. So, or you just my t-shirt would just say, "I may not be rich." That's it.
Dot.
No lies detected. Yeah, we absolutely. So, but hey, look, all I'm going to say is, back in the day, I mean, I was voted, best dressed. I'm just saying.
Hey,
just saying.
I've seen those pics, Dave. You have shown me. You got some of that. I don't know, that Euro flair. I don't know, something that you had that back in the day. It was not bad. I like those pics.
It was a long time ago because I was about 118 pounds, so I was like a coat hanger. So
and with that hair that you've always had, hair that you always had, you can't miss.
I gained a lot of weight, but I didn't lose the hair. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But we're moving on. So I may not be rich. ... That's the T-shirt. No problem. Black and Gold hosting San Diego FC coming up on Saturday, Mario. As we continue on with the MLS portion of the schedule, back to it. LAFC unbeaten in the last 5 in MLS. So 4 games they had won straight there, or unbeaten in 6. Can't keep track anymore with all the Leagues Cup games in there, but we're unbeaten for a while now, especially even with Leagues Cup. But had a good run to start this post World Cup break, and a little tricky test here because LAFC have never beaten San Diego FC. Did get a 2-2 draw earlier this season in San Diego. It wasn't a bad result, but it really was. Boy, did we leave it late. One of the latest goals you can score in MLS, 90+14. Remember, Ryan Hollingshead put that in the 104th minute.
That's right. It was that late.
After Marcus Ingvartsen had 2 goals for San Diego, LAFC were trailing for most of that game. Denis Bouanga got a late one, and then Ryan Hollingshead got the goal to get the draw. So it felt almost like a win. It was one of those LAFC beat San Diego FC 2-2. It kind of felt that way. But we still haven't beaten them. They are on 21 points, 5 wins, 7 losses, 6 draws. They're 12th in the West, but they're only 3 points out of that final play-in, playoff spot. So they're right there. And more importantly, maybe, is the Chucky Lozano saga is over for them. We'll get to that a little bit later on and from the other perspective of the team that Lozano has signed with. But just to get that off the books, Mario, clear that out of the locker room, just whatever was going on. It didn't seem like it was too big of a distraction by any means. Not that we know for sure. Yeah. But what do you think about San Diego coming into this match? They always play us tough. It's the same old story, Everybody,
like you said, it's a tricky match versus San Diego FC. LAFC have not figured out completely going up against San Diego. LAFC just got through Leagues Cup Phase 1. Now getting back to MLS and that grind and knowing that you're at the top of the table, tied on points with Vancouver. And if you want to be at the top of the West, at the very end of the season, you have to beat these type of teams, these tough teams, San Diego FC, that are in your Western Conference. But I think this is where Marc Dos Santos has really been challenged all year long, and I think before him, Steve Cherundolo was challenged with just the congested schedule, how to manage all the different tournaments, how to manage the minutes of all these guys going for all these different trophies. So I think that is a big part, and LAFC has played 3 matches of Leagues Cup where they've all been intense. They've all been tough matches, 2 going to PKs. How fresh are the legs for these LAFC players? There was rotation, which was good. Mark was rotating guys, because he knew what was ahead. But where's the energy at? Where's the energy level for all of Marc Dos Santos' players? So LAFC got to come out and establish the tone very, 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 very early. Don't let San Diego come in here riding all that confidence that they already have against LAFC, knowing that they already won at BMO Stadium. LAFC got to come in and set the tone early.
Yeah, it's definitely a team that plays against LAFC like they expect to win, home or away. It hasn't always been the case, but they have not really, shown any kind of, reverence or fear of LAFC from the opening whistle they played against the Black and Gold. Of course, it's just their, second season. So it's not like, we haven't had a ton of matches against them in fairness, but they have certainly handled their business. Anders Dreyer leading the way, 7 goals, 9 assists, just really a kind of a talisman where he'll pop up in so many different spots. He likes to get out on the wing, but he's not afraid to go right through the middle. He's not afraid to put the ball on his foot and dribble past people. He's not afraid to shoot, clearly. He doesn't mind passing the ball. Like, he's just got everything. And Marcus Ingvartsen, a little bit of a surprise to me how well Ingvartsen has done. Not that he's a bad player by any means. He's got talent, but 11 goals and 4 assists, too, which is really impressive. 15 goal contributions for him up front. And, this is, again, a team that was trying to figure it out without Chucky Lozano, a huge designated player signing. They got nothing from him for a while now, although he was very good on the pitch, in fairness, when he played for San Diego. Had a lot of great moments, but just obviously with things that happen off the pitch and behind the scenes that caused that breakup. Speaking of which, let's go around the rest of MLS for this one, Mario. Galaxy signed Chucky Lozano on loan.
Yeah.
Now, by all reports and whatever, they're going to take some of the salary away, give a little bit of relief to San Diego, but I don't think they're taking all of that massive Chucky Lozano salary. So they're getting him on a little bit of a discount. They get to check it out. He's on loan. They can make it permanent potentially if it works out. I don't think there's a lot of risk here for LAFC LA Galaxy, and they signed Sergi Roberto, a former, Barcelona player, former, player over in Europe, a very good player. I think he's 34, a little bit older, but still a very, very solid player. So they're definitely trying to inject something here and not punt on this season. It looks like for LA Galaxy, not a lot of risk with Chucky, but they're trying to maybe catch lightning in a bottle with him as a great player as he is, to try to turn this season around for them. What are your thoughts on these moves as you look from the outside to the Galaxy with these?
Definitely positive moves for the LA Galaxy. It comes at a time in the season where it's getting a little bit late, and these type of players are going to take some time to adapt to their new team and to their new players and to the new philosophy that the coach has going on. But the Chucky Lozano side of it is definitely a home run as far as like jersey sales and the fan base. A lot of the LA fans here love a Mexican star like Chucky Lozano is. And the fact that, he's no longer with San Diego, they have kind of departed and separated respectfully. I think both sides, they kind of just came up, to an agreement where it's
as they could.
Right, point, exactly. Yeah. It's not going to work out here in San Diego. We're letting you know that. And Chucky's saying, okay, I accept that. And I think Chucky's probably going to be at a really positive state of mind going into the Galaxy with this opportunity, a brand new opportunity to show his quality, what type of player he is, and with really a fan base that is very similar to the fan base that he was just at that loved him as well. So he's going to have a ton of fans supporting him there with the Galaxy. They're going to be rooting for him for sure. Sergio Roberto, of course, a good player, Barcelona, Como. He's been playing at the top leagues. He's going to add a lot of experience, a lot of talent to that team. Look out for him. He's somebody that can really, really adapt and contribute probably right away for the Galaxy.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think you're right about that too. So they've definitely gotten better if it all works out. Now, of course, that's a big if with any kind of massive signing, especially when you have like a Lozano and what happened. I mean, we don't know the whole story, but it's kind of about where I expected Chucky to end up if he was going to stay in MLS. Not necessarily the Galaxy specifically, but a team that's under the playoff line, but isn't necessarily, punting on the season. They're not out of it, so to speak. Like, it's not Atlanta United. They don't need that. It's not Sporting Kansas City doesn't need to take that chance. You take a chance. You get them on loan. Yes, it's money. Yes, it's going to cost you some, but you're right. You're going to get the jersey sales are going to help, certainly in this market more so than even other places maybe. So it makes sense on a lot of levels, but it is a gamble, it could be that this season is just done for them because, you never know. It might, if it doesn't work out, you aren't making the play, it's just going to go sour. But they really didn't have that much to lose, frankly, with their season. And Sergio Roberto, maybe a little longer term play, even, he's signed for a few years. I mean, he's still got a few years left in him and everything. That's agreed. Now, this move, which has been talked about, but we haven't really discussed it. It's so interesting. 18-year-old Lucas Harrington transfers to Hull City of the Premier League for over $20 million by all reports.
Wow.
Hear that number again, everybody, for Colorado Rapids. And this is a player they signed barely a year ago. Just a fascinating story. They signed him for under $1 million, right? They see this.
That's good business.
Reports are a lot of teams were chasing this guy. The Rapids, scouted, developed, said we're going to get this guy under $1 million. They ended up buying. You know how teams always have that. Well, the sell-on clause, we get a portion of that. Like they're always kind of hedging against the future in case this guy turns into $100 million player or $20 million player. Like they want more money coming back. His team in Australia was under some financial, I guess maybe some financial pressure. Colorado made an offer to buy out the rest of that sell-on clause for somewhere in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, just a few $100,000. They get that extra percentage, which turns into now millions of dollars that they would have had to owe the Australian team for it. And instead they pocket it all. So they, because the team in Australia was under some financial pressure, apparently. Well, unbelievable story. Just this is the kind of transfer, Mario, that like people, they pick up their head about all over the world. An 18-year-old going to the Premier League, a newly promoted side that's desperate to stay there, certainly in Hull City, and they're paying over $20 million for MLS team. Now Colorado's got to go out and I think they got to spend some money. Like they can't just you can't just pocket this for your fans. They're going to have to come in and they're going to bring in some good players with this money.
Oh, yeah. And what a story. I mean, for Lucas Harrington to be at that age and go into the Premier League, that's got to be incredible. What just a couple of years ago, he's playing, at an academy level. He's playing at a youth level. Now he's going to the Premier League. And for that much money, incredible. I mean, there's just so many storylines to this one. So many MLS players as of late making the jump over to Europe. I mean, players like Max Arpston, from Fresno, California, another guy there from, Northern California, young guy Gozo from RSL, all these guys are making this type of jump. And it's like MLS is producing these type of players and it's an incredible thing. And then also another storyline is just incredible business. That's good business there for Colorado to sell them for $20 million. I mean, that is incredible after just paying $1 million. I mean, you can't beat that as a club.
Yeah. Now Colorado's struggling a little bit, but they're not a bad team by any means. But the Gozo one is one I want to get back to real quick, because when MLS decided to change the calendar, which we're going to do, of course, later next season, everybody talked about these transfer windows, right? This one is more in line with the European teams getting ready for their season now. So they're more willing to buy, right? They're looking for those pieces, and now MLS will be more in line. For me, it's more about it helping MLS teams, not so much to sell. But now, let's say, what if Colorado was in second place in the West, having a great season, right? And Lucas Harrington's their best player, let's say. And someone comes with you for that money. You're going to make $20+ million in profit off a player you've had for months. You can't turn it down, right? But yet, you're right in the thick of it in your season, right? We're barely halfway through. That's the difference. It's not so much. Of course, teams can still come buy these players whenever they wanted. And MLS, so it wasn't like it's holding back MLS teams from selling players unless you're worried about your own season. And that's the difference now. MLS teams can get more in line with the calendar where they can go now get a replacement before the season begins. Yes, it hurts to lose a guy like that, but you're getting the money. You're getting a great transfer fee. You can't turn it down. But now you're not 19 games into your season. That's the difference. It has nothing to do with worrying about... Now you can get the money and pursue the trophy. Keep going on your good run because of the timing of the season. Yeah, that's a great point, Dave. I love that. Exactly. Has nothing to do with the European teams. They'll buy whenever they need it, like whatever. They don't care what the calendar is. I mean, yes, most of the buying would be done before their season starts, and yes, that is a factor, but it has nothing to do with that, really. It's when it's happening in MLS's season that is the big difference. Gozo, right? RSL having a nice season. They got to sell him. He wants to go. It's a good bit of money. You're getting a great deal for a player you're developed. We wish you all the best, but now we have only 15 games to determine how we're going to make a difference, and even if you want to go spend, maybe there's a difference there where is this player going to really affect the rest of the season for us as much? Because there's not as many, He's coming in late in this. So yeah, that makes a huge difference. And these transfers kind of highlight that. The bigger the money goes, it does make a difference. You do have to sell. Let's be honest. You can't, in a lot of ways, a lot of these teams cannot turn that down. That's the bottom line. The money's getting too big, which is good. I mean, that's the way it should be. That's what MLS wants. I mean, that's the way business is done in world football. So good stuff there around the rest of MLS. LAFC and San Diego FC Saturday night, Mario. Airtime for the pregame, 7 o'clock Pacific on 710 ESPN LA and the ESPN LA app. So easy. Just download that app, click on it if anywhere in the world. If you're not in the LA area to listen on 710 ESPN, join us that way. Kick off at around 7:40. Mario, great stuff as always. Can't wait for the San Diego FC match. Welcome again to Armindo Sieb, the latest signing for LAFC, joining from Bayern Munich and on a full transfer, a permanent deal. We welcome Sieb to the Black and Gold as well. Take us out of here, Mario, for episode 107, baby.
Exciting week, exciting times for LAFC right now. Back to MLS action. LAFC going up against San Diego FC, hoping to get their first ever win against San Diego FC. Join us at BMO Stadium. If not, join us on ESPN LA. That's going to be a good one. This has been LAFC Plus, episode 107, presented by Hotel Indigo Los Angeles downtown. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.